It seems that the United States is indeed running short of money. By shifting limited funds to the R&D of more critical new equipment as much as possible, the U.S. has either cancelled or postponed the development of new equipment with lower priority, a sign of financial constraints. According to U.S. media reports, U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin has had a fierce dispute with the U.S. Navy leadership. The core issue is that the Pentagon has demanded a 3-year delay in the development plan for the carrier-based 6th-generation fighter jet F/A-XX program, which the Navy has refused. To force the Navy to comply, the Pentagon is prepared to cancel the $500 million in R&D funds previously allocated to the F/A-XX fighter program, halting its development. We know that at the end of last month, Trump announced an additional $150 billion in special investments for key military projects. This funding is not part of the 2025 military budget signed by former U.S. President Biden, but rather an extra allocation. Among them, the R&D program for the U.S. Navy's carrier-based 6th-generation fighter jet F/A-XX received $500 million. However, it now appears that in order to delay the project by 3 years as per the wishes of presidential cabinet officials, the promised funding is likely to be withheld, which has naturally infuriated the U.S. Navy leadership. Of course, from the perspective of Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin or even Trump, their actions are not entirely unreasonable. Despite the U.S. military expenditure hitting new record highs year after year, the real purchasing power of the U.S. dollar has severely shrunk against the backdrop of severe inflation in recent years. Although the total military expenditure on paper is increasing, the actual funds received by each branch of the U.S. military, when calculated by purchasing power, are actually decreasing. This does not even account for excessive spending like a $90,000 screw. Now that money is running short, Trump and the Pentagon have no choice but to adopt the strategy of robbing Peter to pay Paul. By canceling or postponing the R&D of new equipment projects with lower priority, they aim to ensure that more critical equipment receives sufficient funding. So, what naval new equipment projects are more important than the carrier-based 6th-generation fighter jet? Upon careful consideration, there are actually quite a few. For example, as the Nimitz-class nuclear-powered aircraft carriers begin to enter their decommissioning cycle, the follow-up construction of Ford-class nuclear-powered aircraft carriers will inevitably require sufficient funding. The Ohio-class strategic nuclear submarines are also approaching their decommissioning cycle, so the construction of the new Columbia-class strategic nuclear submarines cannot afford to lack funds. Facing the dilemma that the aging and decommissioning pace of surface fleet equipment is faster than the construction and commissioning speed of Arleigh Burke-class destroyers, the construction of Constellation-class frigates, seen as a means to significantly expand the scale of the U.S. Navy's surface fleet, also cannot go unfunded. After all, R&D is not something that guarantees results just by investing in it. While construction represents tangible performance, results will naturally emerge as time goes by. As someone pursuing performance results, I believe you don't need me to tell you how to choose. Finally, Trump and Hegseth set their sights on the Navy's next-generation carrier-based fighter jet R&D project, believing that the urgency and importance of the F/A-XX fighter jet are not very high. After all, investing in the R&D of 6th-generation fighter jets might not yield results even after Trump leaves office, and it could even end up benefiting his successor. If I were in that position, I wouldn't do it either. Following the usual practice of leaving messy situations for the next administration, they decided to postpone the project by 3 years to make way for other programs. As for what happens in the future, let the successors deal with the headaches.